What up, YouTube? As many of you know, I was recently featured on CNBC's Millennial Money. And there was a guy named Stephan who made a video in reply to that. And here it is. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. It's called Millionaire Reacts, Living on 80K a Year in San Diego. Millennial Money.
Today we had our prayers answered. I kid you not. I love this. There's nothing that gets me so excited than seeing Millennial Money. I don't know why I'm this weird. I'm strange. I'm a strange person when I wake up and I see this and I get excited.
Clearly, Graham is very excited that my video came out. So, you know, I'm glad I could bring some joy to Graham's life. So, one of the first things that Graham says, let's see if we can bring up his point.
My name is Andrew Zhao. I make $80,000 a year working in sales in beautiful sunny San Diego. I want to make more money. You know, I don't think I'll be ever satisfied until I'm really hitting a target like somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 a year. Who doesn't love to make an extra buck, right?
All right, let's have a serious moment here, okay? Just a heart-to-heart, serious moment. If this guy is not satisfied earning $80,000 a year, he is not going to be satisfied earning $200,000 to $300,000 a year.
Graham has a fair point here that I think definitely has some true value to it. It's absolutely true that the more money you make, the more expenses that you have, the more your lifestyle grows in proportion to your income, and you're always gonna still want more. But I think Graham misses the real point of my message here, which is, you know, behind wanting to make more money is, I think that making more money will allow me as an entrepreneur to automate more stuff in my life. For example, basic services like cleaning and laundry, etc. Those are things that suck time away from us as entrepreneurs, and by increasing our income, we can actually outsource more basic services that we use in our lives. And so, you know, and another part of that is just having more income gives me more of my personal money to invest in entrepreneurial ventures. It's not my life goal to make $200,000 to $300,000 a year. That's one of my short-term sales goals. My long-term goals are more centered around me and my business.
$670 a month on food. That's a lot on food. That's a lot. My food budget. How much is my food budget? It's next to nothing. My grocery bill, it sounds terrible to say this, my grocery bill is like $85 a month. Not that I eat like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like I eat a lot of like eggs, cheese, ham, oatmeal, frozen dinners. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, because now I'm gonna get hate comments. Now I'm going to get comments from the people who are like,
but Graham, your health. Think of your health, Graham. It's worth it to go to Whole Foods and spend $400 a month for your health.
I know, guys. I like eating eggs and oatmeal for dinner.
Okay, so Graham's grocery bill is $85 a month. If you actually think about that, if you break that down, that's less than $3 a day. I am truly at a loss for how Graham eats breakfast, lunch, and dinner for under $1 a meal. Suffice it to say, Stephan is not going to be here for a good time or a long time. That just does not sound healthy at all. I understand that you like eating oatmeal and eggs for dinner, but man, you really got to do something about that. The second video I watched from Graham was his video, This Is Why I'm Single. And Graham, quite frankly, you're probably single because I can't think of very many women that I know of that would want to eat eggs and oatmeal for dinner. I will make this point. I actually believe that by investing into lifestyle, you open doors for yourself as an entrepreneur. And let me explain that. So I'll give an example from my life. Before I moved into this high-rise apartment building, I actually had a choice. I could either pay almost $2,000 a month for a studio apartment here. I've actually since upgraded to a one-bedroom. Or I could have paid $900 a month for this really crappy apartment that's just on the other block over there. And I would have been really slumming it at that apartment. And, I actually thought long and hard about it, and I was going to pick the slum apartment over there. But actually my best friend, who, by the way, is one of the smartest guys I know and who I respect as a business person very much, he actually convinced me to move into here. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And, I would have saved a lot more money by slumming it out for the past year and a half, but the returns that I've gained from living here have been infinite. Like, I cannot count, those life benefits, because the people that I've met from living in this apartment have really increased the capacity of my network. By living in a nicer place, I'm surrounded by people who have more means, and what that means is that I'm making great connections. I'm making a lot of people who live in this building are also young entrepreneurs, people that are going out and making themselves into successes. And I would definitely have missed out on all the connections that I've made if I had chosen to slum it out at those apartments down the road. I met my girlfriend here in the building. I met, one of my close friends who I met in this building is about to make a very significant investment into my startup business. There are a lot of benefits that you cannot count on paper. So while something might look like, okay, it costs me a bit more to eat healthy, it costs me a bit more to live, within my means, but in a nicer setting, you might get a lot of benefits from that you cannot even count on a balance sheet.
My main passion is something called gloving, an underground art form that centers around the rave culture. The art form has grown so much, but also awareness. It was on Shark Tank. I believe that gloving is an art form that will ultimately become $1 billion industry someday. Eventually, I want Thrillites to be something full-time that would replace my income from my sales career. I envision that happening sometime over the next few years. It's just not my focus yet. Right now, I'm really focused on excelling in my sales career and in growing as an artist in gloving.
I don't know how I feel about gloving. I remember this was a thing, and when I was in middle school, gloving was back then they didn't have gloves. They had there was a little strap that you would put on your wrist with wires that go to your fingers and with little lights on them. I never saw it. I feel like if it were going to be a thing, it would have been a thing by now. I think it's interesting to watch, and I think there's a lot of talent into stuff like that. Stuff.
Graham, first of all, my dude, you gotta work on your finger rules. That was embarrassing, and that you even showed that on camera is crazy to me. Finger rules are all about finger isolation, so you gotta do them one at a time. what you did there, that was whack, my dude. But moving on.
But I just don't see it. I don't think it's that mainstream. And also, I think we're going away almost from the whole like rave culture. I know, I know people are gonna flame me now for saying this, but here's it. I think electronic music had its big heyday in like 2009 to 2013 or so. And it had its wave where, you know, Dead Mouse and Skrillex and all of those kind of more mainstream musicians really had their wave for like, you know, EDM and stuff like that. And now I think we're slowly transitioning away from that. So I think if gloving were going to be a thing, it would have been a little bit back. I'm sure there's always a market for it.
Let me ask you this question. What kind of serious professional do you know who makes conclusions purely based on empirical evidence from their lives without giving even a thought to what the actual facts and what the numbers really say? You know, for example, the EDM industry has actually doubled since 2012. As far as what his comments about gloving, you know, he doesn't see it going anywhere. That's just sort of ignorant. I don't really have anything to say about that. You know, for me, I don't feel like I need to sell gloving because, you know, I will sell my company, I'll sell throw lights all day long, but I don't feel like I need to sell gloving. Gloving kind of sells itself. Gloving has been growing, gloving will continue to grow, and quite honestly, gloving will grow with or without me. So I don't really have anything more to say about that. Graham, you should get a light show one of these days. You'd be really amazed at what people are able to do now. The art form has really taken off, and it's something that's incredible. I recommend you check it out one day, and it'll probably change your mind. One of the last topics I'm going to address is I got a lot of comments. I didn't read all of them. I read some of them because I just I don't want to make a practice out of reading comments, and you know, I'm just too busy for that really. But let me play Graham's comments about this, and then we'll talk about it.
My first experience investing in the stock market was at 16 years old when I somehow convinced my dad to give me $20,000 to invest. At that time, I think it was like 2009. So the stock market had literally just tanked. And I took that money and started making a bunch of fast money. I had stocks that were making like 50, 60% returns in a single day. Eventually, it kind of caught up with me because I wasn't really doing the right kind of stuff, and I ended up losing all of my dad's money when one of my stocks pink slipped. Today, I'm more of a value investor. I really look at companies that I believe in their future, more stable stocks, blue chips. I think eventually I'll pay my dad back once I have a spare 20 grand laying around.
Ooh, oh man. That's why you always gotta take your profits. Oh, I feel for that one, man. I really feel for that one.
So first of all, I don't really feel for that one. I mean, yeah, you know, $20,000 was lost, but you know, when I think about my life and I think about how many opportunities to make money that I've missed out on, like the whole Bitcoin thing, for example, like, I don't know about you guys, but I remember back in like 2010, I had some close friends who were like trying really hard to convince me to invest in Bitcoin, and I never listened to them. And you know, I could be a millionaire now, but you know, I didn't do it. And I think back on, like, there are many opportunities that I can't be the only person who's missed opportunities to make money, right? I don't really feel that it doesn't hurt me to lose $20,000 10 years ago. It's fine. I'm kind of like over it at this point.
And you don't know any better. Well, the thing is this, is like, that sucks, but at the end of the day, that is a good lesson. That's a good lesson. Like for 20 grand, he got a kick in the pants and he will never make that mistake again. And chances are him losing 20 grand is going to save him hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the future. So that's the way I usually see it. It sucks to...
I got one of the most valuable business educations that I could get, and it cost me $20,000. I think, you know, the old adage about failure being the greatest teacher is really true because it's completely changed the way that I invest. I don't look at technicals anymore. I don't look at shaky companies anymore. I invest purely on value and fundamentals now. I will only invest in a company if I completely believe in the company, completely believe in its product, believe that it's going to do fantastically 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. Beyond that, if I believe in the founders of the company. So I look at stuff totally different now when I choose to invest in a company or in a security. So I got a really, really, really valuable business education from that experience. For all the haters out there, let me pose this question to you. How many of you had no second thoughts about letting your parents drop $50,000 to $100,000 on your college education, which you now have a slip of paper? And how many of you are actually in a fulfilling career that you love to do that you got because of this $50,000 to $100,000 that your parents spent on you for college? I'd be willing venture to guess that many of the haters out there who are giving me shit for this $20,000 that was lost 10 years ago have lost their parents a lot more money. I got a great education. It cost me $20,000, and I fully intend on paying my dad back. So for all you haters out there, you know, I get that they highlighted it in the article, but you know, things happen. I'm sure you've made mistakes in your life too. Hey, not every investment works out. I think we all lose some money when we start out as an entrepreneur, but what matters is what you learn from it, where you're going, and that you always give back to the people that got you where you are. So that's why I'm gonna pay my dad back. Just you watch. Hey, Graham, if you ever want to come down to San Diego, come on down. You can be my guest. You know, my girlfriend and I will cook you an amazing dinner, or hey, we'll even take you out to a restaurant. Something besides oatmeal and eggs for dinner. And you know, you can tell me a bit more about personal finance, and who knows, man, maybe we'll make some business connections. But with that, that's my response video, and I'll see you all at the top.